Hey there, data lovers! It's Jeff, and welcome to what we're calling an I Love Data Fridays mini. So you've probably had listened to other podcasts where sometimes they do little short episodes that aren't a full episode. They just talk quickly about a topic. So I'm taking a sort of a page from that playbook, and we're going to do I Love Data Fridays mini. So I have one here for you in November. And you remember last month we really talked about how to use the OS total score, and I just wanted to do a little mini episode and give you some more information on the OS total score. So hey, come on, let's change slides. Let's talk a little data. So we're going to look at an article written by former research director Jerome D'Agostino, his article from the spring 2012 Journal of Reading Recovery. And it's called, the article titled, "The Technical Review Committee Confirms the Highest NCRTI Ratings for the Observation Survey of Early Literacy Achievement." And actually, we're going to be talking data about Figure 1 from that article. And let me switch over to that Figure 1 from that article. Get it here in just a second. There it is. So, what we are looking at in Figure 1 here, let me start with the left-hand side. You'll notice that it has a scale going from 0 to 800. So this chart is about the OS total score. And remember, the OS total score has a minimum value of 0 and goes all the way up to a maximum value of 800. And let me just read Jerry's description real quick, and then I'll fill it in. It says, Figure 1 presents the results, the resulting IRT scale. This is the IRT scale over here, with student score distribution on the left, so on this side. So he's just saying that we're showing how many kids in his analysis got a particular OS total score, the distribution. And you can see it makes a bit of a bell curve there, just like that, okay? And then it says, with the student score distribution on the left and the 6 observation survey task items on the right. So over here on the right-hand side, the number in front of the task title is the partial credit score or raw score for each task. And he makes a point that not all points are presented, or not all OS tasks are presented. So what this chart is showing is that it's kind of showing like that kids who have a certain score, what they usually have on their 6 subtasks of the observation survey. So, for example, if we just kind of look at an OS total score of 340, these are usually kids who have a text reading level of 1, have a letter ID of probably 26 or maybe just a little bit more, and scored 1 or higher on the Ohio word test. Now, not every child with a 340 is like this, but most children are like this. So, for example, we could also do another example. Let me come up to 540 right here. So these are children in general that are scoring at or above a text level of 16. You know, they have a letter ID of 54, right up there at the max already. So you can kind of do that and see, get an idea of like what students should be looking at the different scores on the OS total score. Now, let me find the next part here. So, scores are actually listed, so you can see that, let's see. Looking for something here. It says, items with the accompanying points at the top of the scale were harder for students to accomplish. All right, so for example, what he's saying is just that the harder scores are at the top of this chart. So at the absolute extreme of this, kids scoring 100, it's hardest for kids to get 150 on the writing vocabulary and score 24 on the concepts about print. And then with, if you go a little bit down, we can see that right here, just above a 640, probably 640, 660, probably around a 680, or most of the the next hardest part is getting a text level of 30. And then we can see that down at the bottom, the easier scores achievement scores are at the bottom. The last thing that he points out that, and let me just scroll down a little bit here. Let's see. I'm going to start this. Let's see. As can be seen, the student score distribution has a slight negative skew, meaning that our bell curve kind of leans this way a little bit. but the items and student scores are spread equally across the scale, indicating the appropriateness of the observation survey for measuring measuring literacy development throughout first grade. So what we see, what he's pointing out is that the scores distribute themselves across the entire range of the OS total score. They distribute themselves nicely. They aren't like clumping together. So like, for example, we're not seeing a text reading level of 1 here and then a text reading level of 30 right here. It's not clumped there. It's spread out across the entire range. You know, we got concepts about print of 1 right here and a concepts about print of 24 right there. And here's another one of 12 right there. So it's spread out. All of the scores are spread out along the observation, along the OS total score range. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is that we're starting a new thing with I Love Data Fridays. It's called How Do You Do Data? And I get a lot of questions when we go to when I go to conferences, you know, like, what are other people doing with their data? You know, what do other people do with their data? So with that's a question we want to try to answer with How Do You Do Data? We want to bring on other teacher leaders and teachers and trainers and see what they're doing with data, so you can also do it with data. So if you have an idea of how you're using data you want to share, send us an email to helpdesk@idecweb.us, and we'd love to hear about it. And the last thing I want to say about that is that later this November, we are having on Amy Smith from Madison County, Kentucky, and Beth Moxie from Fayette County, Kentucky, and they're going to talk a little data with us and show us some slides on how they use their data with their teachers this year. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching this little I Love Data Fridays mini, and we will talk data to you later.